If you're wondering how we got back to the Chapter 2 island, well, you're in luck. Because in this chapter, we have gone from Peely being kidnapped, Hope discovering the truth and the hidden secrets of Chapter 5, all the way to Doom threatening our island. There is a ton of stuff to cover, and if you're anything like me, you need a storyline recap. So just before we get into Chapter 6, let's go ahead and recap everything that's happened, starting with Season 1. Who stole Peely and why? After the event, we could see a board that said Peely was missing hovering around the Chapter 5 galaxy. But this doesn't really clear up any context, so for more context, we need to go into the trailer. Within the Chapter 5 Season 1 trailer, we can see Jones go down to the basement called the Underground. His little office has just been overrun by the enemy, and they actually left a message for him. We have your banana. Now, this is a very daunting and mysterious story so far, but it's about to get way cooler. In the trailer, there are files all over the floor. They've been scattered around as if somebody were fighting here. And we can assume what went down was Peely had a little bit of a scramble with these people that took him. But there's something special about these files. There are two specific files on the floor that have Midas's face on it. The first time we've seen these files was back in Chapter 2, Season 2. And yes, they've finally returned. But what does this mean? Is Midas finally relevant again? Well, yes. Jones and Peely have been looking into Midas clearly with these files, and on the map we can see some things that kinda hint towards Midas, like the yacht. There was a loading screen that showed who took Peely. In this loading screen we can see Jones on the phone with somebody. Who's he on the phone with? He's on the phone with this new guy whose name is Oscar. He's got some very nice clothes on, he's wearing some sort of suit and tie. He's pointing at something. Peely. Oscar is a hunter. Because this loading screen says, if you think you can evade a hunter like me, you're more foolish than I thought. Why does the fact that Oscar is a hunter matter? Well, that's because in the next loading screen we can see he has actually kidnapped Peely. He's a hunter. So this probably wasn't his choice. He was probably hired. Well, who could have hired Oscar to take him? Well, we'll get into that in a second, because first we have to talk about Jones. This story so far has been that Oscar has taken Peely, and Jones found out about it, which is the next screen, where Jones is getting ready to break the rules, apparently, and get in on Peely. And in this big loading screen for Jones, it says, this time it's not about saving the world, it's about saving a friend. But little did he know, he would be saving the world again sooner than he thought. And it goes through this giant comic sequence where he breaks into a building and revealing the final character, Valeria. She is the big boss for the society. There's nothing too important about that until we go to the next page where we can see Nisha standing with Peely. Why is this important? And who actually took Peely? Because we've seen him with Oscar and now Nisha. But since Oscar is a hunter, it leads me to believe that Oscar has stolen Peely and delivered him to Nisha. But the real question is, why does Nisha need Peely? And the answer was right in front of us the whole time. We can also see Valeria in a loading screen that shows that she loves to have knowledge, because she claims that knowledge is power. But what can we see in the background? Well, quite literally the answer to all of our questions. Jones is standing in front of the 0 point. Now, why does it matter that Jones is standing in front of the 0 point? Because we've been wondering why they've stolen Peely this whole time. Because he seems to have stolen Peely and then called Jones to tell him he's stolen him. Jones obviously got mad and went on a hunt for him, and then successfully got to the main antagonist of the society, but it turns out they didn't seem to have it. Valeria probably didn't end up having it.
which leads us to assume that this is an inside job from a few people in the society that want Peely for some other reason. Because as all of us did, Jones assumed that the society themselves stole Peely for a reason. But no, it looks like the society didn't steal Peely, but instead, someone else inside the society stole Peely. With Jones standing in front of the 0 point, what would be the best move in order to know about the 0 point? Stealing his best friend for ransom for knowledge. Because if they could steal Peely, maybe Jones will offer a trade for the 0 point.
So since Valeria is so hungry for more knowledge, she stole Peely in order to get information out of Jones. But there are still so many unsolved mysteries for this Chapter 5 storyline, one of them being Midas. And later in the video, we see something as small as a banana being stolen, taken to a giant sandstorm coming to the island.
Midas has so many teasers on the island right now. There's a picture of the agency, there's the Chapter 2 Season 2 doors, there's a file with Midas's face on it in the trailer, and there's even the exact same yacht that he used to own, and it's still called Marigold. The only difference is that all of the logos that used to be Midas are now the society. But there is one hint that Midas still could be around, and that's on the top of the ship when you go to this computer. There are two names. One name has 5 letters and one name has 8. My original thought would be that this was Midas and Marigold.
And later we find out that this was spot on. But before we can get to that, we need to finish the story for Season 1 and officially solve the mystery of what happened to Peely and why.
Peely was kidnapped solely for the reason that Jones had knowledge that Valeria wanted. Jones managed to get Peely back without actually having to give up some of his knowledge, but in Jones's dialogue, it says, "It's all been building up to this, time to confront the society. Hope was right, the whole island needs help. With my best bud rescued, I'll be ready for anything. They took Peely because of my history. They thought they could use me." This proves multiple things. One of them is that Jones still remembers the past, which is a big deal. Another one is that Valeria was in the search for the Pandora's box. At first, we didn't know for sure if this was the Pandora's box or not, but now we can confirm because of massive things that are coming to the game. Pandora's box is a Greek mythology story. And the Wikipedia says, when Prometheus stole fire from heaven, Zeus, the king of the gods, took vengeance by presenting Pandora to Prometheus' brother Epimetheus. Pandora opened a jar left in her care, containing sickness, death, and many other unspecified evils, which were released into the world. So basically, Pandora's box holds the evil of the world, and Valeria is looking for it. So how did Jones even save Peely? Well, it looks like just from this loading screen where he confronted Valeria at the end, he ended up destroying the society. As you can see in the background of this new loading screen, the society's buildings are burning. They're in flames. And Jones is running away with Peely. Even on the little crates on the right side, you can see bullet holes. This was not an easy fight. I'm surprised we only saw it through a loading screen, but there's a reason that there were no details. Because Peely being taken was kind of a side character story, a distraction for Valeria. Peely got kidnapped so that way Valeria could work behind the scenes on a lot of other things. Because recently, we've been seeing her move place to place on the island. She was in a specific spot, researching with a telescope and her book, and then she has now moved, but where she was originally now has some sort of dog head. This dog head is very important to the storyline coming up, because there was a leaked teaser for next season, and it includes Cerberus, the 3-headed dog, a very Greek mythology thing, and this whole loading screen is the teaser for the next season. We can see Greek mythology styled buildings all around, like pillars and stuff, and then at the bottom we can see skulls and flames. And there is one tiny burning flame at the bottom middle, and this represents Valeria. But let's take a step back for a moment, and we're gonna explain why. Valeria has been looking for something. We don't know what she's looking for until now,
because this hand just came out of the ground holding Pandora's box.
We don't know why or where this came from until now. Valeria has been in search for Pandora's box. She doesn't know where it is, but that's why she's looking for it. That's why she kidnapped Peely, because she wanted to know if she could pry anything out of Jones about Pandora's box. And we can assume that Valeria somehow is finding Pandora's box right now. She has just left Cerberus's head on her last sight. And we can assume she will do the same for the next 2 heads, revealing Cerberus in the end for Season 2. The reason that this flame represents Valeria is because she is going to find Pandora's box. And according to Greek mythology, Pandora's box holds the evils of the world. And when she wants more knowledge, she's going to open this box, revealing Cerberus and many other monsters. Obviously, there's something underneath the ground that's more than the hand.
But before I reveal who's underneath the island and who this hand belongs to, we need to look at something else first. Oh yeah, and subscribe.
A strange character named Odyssey shows up on the Fortnite island at Ruined Reels. This character foreshadows the entire season. She seems to be brand new, but she was teased all the way back on the first day of Chapter 5. Something to know is that everything here is happening around Ruined Reels. A poster was spotted at this location that at first looked like a simple movie poster, but really it was a teaser for the whole next part of the storyline. This poster was called Odyssey 6, and in the background we see something that looks like Mount Olympus. This name Odyssey was very important and we just didn't notice. In a second, I'll explain more on that, but first let me explain Valeria's part in this story. Valeria showed up on day 1 of this chapter. She immediately struck us as a villain that was power hungry. She not only wanted power, but she wanted knowledge. She kidnapped Peely himself just because she wanted to know something. And her significance on this island is more than we thought. We thought that she was just a cool new character, but really she was after something specific. Pandora's box. A box straight out of Greek mythology. This box is said to hold the darkness and evils of the world, and when opened, it would all escape. But before I continue that story, let's jump back to this Odyssey girl. Odyssey shows up on our island and starts talking about some sort of mosaic. This mosaic is revealed as the season goes on. She mentions something dark on our island, something hidden that she is currently working to decode. But by the time she does it, she fears it'll be too late. Now back to Valeria. Valeria is in search of something big. We see her set up research sites all around the map. And on all of these research sites, we see the same image, Pandora's box. One day, Valeria moves to a new spot, but she leaves behind something interesting, a face of a dog. This dog will be proven to be more important as the season moves on. So in the meantime, let's see what she's looking at. She's looking at some sort of earthquake. I wonder what will come out of there. A giant hand comes out of the ground. This hand is big, but the more important part is what the hand is holding. Pandora's box. Valeria has somehow found a way to lure it out of its place, and in doing so, opens up a lot of questions. Why was this hand under the island? Why is there so much lava? What is inside this box? Is Midas coming back or not? All of these mysteries will be revealed very soon. Odyssey's mosaic is slowly revealed, leading to this mysterious image. A 3-headed dog, Cerberus. This brings us back to Pandora's box. If all of the evils in the world rest inside this box, Cerberus is also inside this, and looking closely at the box might reveal what else lays inside. We will get back to that in a minute though. Paying attention to Odyssey's mosaic reveals many Greek-style buildings. Buildings that we've seen before on the Odyssey 6 poster. This poster teased it all, but nobody even noticed. Something else that was teased was the return of Midas, many times. The last time we saw Midas for real was actually when he was using the spirit world in season 4, which in a moment you will realize is very important. So maybe this also has to do with Midas. But let's get back to Pandora's box. If you look closely at Pandora's box, we can see many characters. Characters that seem to be Zeus, Ares, Cerberus, and Hades. All of these characters are from Greek mythology. Cerberus being teased yet again, the original thing that brought Odyssey here in the first place. Pandora's box opens and we see this giant beam of orange light shoot out of it. This looks like some sort of tornado until you get closer and you realize that these are the souls of the dead. Who knew that Fortnite was going to take the dark route with this one? This hints at the fact that the box is easily connected to the underworld. And now it will begin setting free all of the evil things.
Season 1's storyline was great. It was a good introduction to Chapter 5. But Season 2 by far has the most storylines so far. So now that Season 1 is done, let's get into Season 2's storyline.
Zeus is trying to destroy all of humanity.
Zeus's wrath is upon you.
Leaving us to wonder why. And a bunch of mysteries that have just been brought up are about to be solved. A brand new secret about Odyssey, and the return of Midas's whole group. Valeria was the one wanting this box, and she's the one that summoned it. When this box was opened, it revealed the spirits of the dead. She caused all of this ruckus, and then now Hope is saying that she just disappeared. She made a dramatic exit. But with Pandora's box being opened, this leads the Greek gods to come to our island to try to stop us. But not only does Zeus want to stop Pandora's box, he actually wants to end all of mankind.
So Zeus wants to end mortal kind.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal.
There are challenges coming up that have voice lines from someone named the Oracle. The Oracle gives us a prophecy of
Darkened skies, choking dust,
and Zeus's wrath, and she tries to help us prevent this. Zeus is mad at us for opening Pandora's box, and he wants to punish us. And Zeus has actually started getting rid of mortals, starting with the society. I mean, it works in our favor, but he just straight up went in and destroyed all of the society. While on the other hand, there is some mysterious stuff going on with Midas. Marigold just showed up on the island, and she is seen gathering up Midas's old group, such as Brutus, Sky, Tiantina, Meowscles, and Jules. She tells them all that, "I think I've found him, he's close." And she tells Jules, "Your father is on this island, I just know it." Marigold has been searching for Midas, and finally she has been led back to our island. But it's not for the reason you would think. Midas hasn't been here all along. No, in fact, Midas was in the underworld this whole time. And if you need proof, here we go. Midas's dialogue line says, "You've heard it right, I'm back. It's very nice to see you again. You have my attention, don't waste it. This island was always too small for my ambitions. I don't fear the gods, no power is absolute. Hades thought he could keep me trapped, he would have been the first." This means that Midas was in the underworld this whole time. Maybe after messing with the spirit realm in chapter 2, season 4, Hades said, "Nah, no more of that," and he trapped him down there. A funny Easter egg that you can notice on the island is actually in the underworld location. There is a golden reboot card on the floor in a prison cell. This indicates that maybe Midas died in the underworld and we actually have to go back and save him.
This theory that I had was actually proven wrong. Instead, this golden reboot card was the reboot card of a guard that was guarding his prison cell. He killed him and froze his reboot card. I'll explain more about that later.
Marigold has gathered up Midas's old team and they have formed the Shadow Group again. In the yacht, you can actually see the Shadow logo, and that's a new thing that we need to talk about. During this season, we will use Midas's old group to make a distraction for Marigold, because Marigold wants to take back her yacht. This challenge tab is called the Great Marigold Yacht Heist. Tiantina says we need to give the boss cover to get away with the Marigold, and I mean loud cover, and the challenge is blow up a fuel pump. Meowscle's description is distraction, huh? How about let's chase that bird? And the challenge is catch a golden chicken. Marigold says, I told you one day I'd need a skilled driver. Let's have some fun. Sky's description says, we need a distraction. Someone flying with big cool wings is a great distraction. Brutus says, what better way to distract from one heist than by pulling off another in broad daylight? They're distracting so Marigold can get in on the yacht and steal it. And in the yacht during this season, we will be able to see the Shadow logo. This means that after 4 years, Midas is finally back with his group. There's one more really confusing important thing. Odyssey looks very similar to the Ageless. From the very start, we were a little suspicious already, but now during this new update, when we officially get the Odyssey skin, we can tell they are definitely related. At least somehow. Because the Ageless is Geno. A version of Geno that was younger that made a snapshot of himself. But when you look at her description, it says an ageless adventurer. And this is very significant. Not only do their clothes look the exact same, not only are they both called ageless, but on her new style, she has the exact same helmet as the ageless, but gold. So far, they are only related because of the way they look and are spoken about, but maybe they will have some more connections later in the line. Regardless, this should mean that Geno is going to return eventually. And there's another important thing to mention about Midas. Do you remember in Chapter 4, Season 4, when Cato Thorn came to the island? He had a lot of relics and special things in his lair, and he somehow managed to collect Midas's arm. Well, if you look at the new Midas skin, we actually can see that he has a prosthetic arm. This confirms that Cato went all the way down to the underworld just to steal his stinking arm. And that's not even it. There is so much Midas lore this season. Because the floor's lava is returning with Midas. The whole entire island is going to be covered in lava, but not only lava, it is golden lava. But I'm confused how Midas got his hands on the lava. Fortnite have supposedly added a backstory to Midas. They are using something called the Storyteller to explain Midas's story. It starts off with saying, once upon a time there was a powerful king doomed by his greed. He received a gift, all that he touched would turn to gold. A gift or a curse. Once upon a time, a golden king could not eat or drink, for all that he had touched turned to gold. He never ate nor drank, but some say he still wonders. Once upon a time, a golden king transformed his young daughter into gold. At great cost, he returned her to life, but her trust was forever broken. Once upon a time, a golden king turned his rose garden to gold. The blooms were beautiful but cold. The king looked upon them and felt nothing. I don't know where exactly they found this, but supposedly these are leaked voice lines in the files. And if that's the case, this is insane. The reason Jules isn't the biggest fan of Midas recently is because he turned her to gold. Maybe the reason he was even in the underworld was because he had to return the favor and maybe go to the underworld in order to save her life. This is obviously the classic Greek mythology Midas story, but this is the first time we've ever heard it told in Fortnite. For the longest time, Midas has kind of had a 50-50 kind of thing, because we've seen him use the golden touch willingly, and then we've also seen him hold things that don't get turned to gold. But I think this is Charlie Wynn setting it in stone that Midas struggles with this, and that he can't control the golden touch. But what do you guys think about this new season's storyline? I'm glad we finally get some backstory on Midas. We have just found hidden cameras in Midas's yacht. Someone is spying on us, and we believe that it is our friend Brutus. New challenges in the game are called Et tu Brute. This is a classic line from a Shakespeare play. This saying literally translates to, "You too, Brutus?" And this was said by someone that was actively being betrayed by someone named Brutus while being murdered. This was a hint for the possible betrayal of Brutus, but when we confront Brutus, he says,
"The cameras found in the yacht were hopes from when the society had the yacht."
Brutus is safe for now, but someone that isn't safe is Midas, because his plan to escape the island might not work the way he thinks it will. But before we can talk about that, we need to see Midas's arrival. Midas has just randomly appeared on our island, but there is a hidden backstory to why he is here and how he got here. If we go to the underworld in the past update, we can see a locked prison cell, and the door is in the shape of a letter M. Later, we find out that this was Midas's prison cell. Midas was locked in the underworld for some reason. He didn't die to get there though, as we noticed, since he still has his physical body. To get to the underworld without dying, he had to have physically walked into the underworld. I'll explain the reason he was in the underworld at the end of this video. Hades found him and kept him in prison, but he ended up escaping the prison cell. Midas managed to get a prison guard to open one of the handcuffs, giving him enough time to turn the guard into gold and then escape, breaking down the door, leaving a golden reboot card in his place. That's how Midas got here, but Midas has some help waiting outside of the prison cell. Midas has escaped from the underworld, and Marigold has been gathering up the old group that Midas used to have. Marigold's plan is to use the Marigold boat to escape the island, or so we think. Logically, this plan makes zero sense, because in the past, people have tried to use the water to leave the island, but failed because they realized that they would just fall off to space and die. Sadly, they realized it too late, but this is something that Midas should already be aware of. If the edge of the world will kill you, why does Marigold and Midas want to go there? There must be a bigger plan here. Maybe the floor's lava is a part of it. Maybe Midas is going to use the lava, and since it's gold, he can manipulate it. Maybe he will use it to take the Marigold boat up on the lava. I genuinely have no idea what Midas's plan is, so if you have any idea, leave a comment, and while you're down there, subscribe. The only thing I can think of is maybe during the Big Bang the loop got destroyed, and now we just don't have a loop anymore. Maybe there are actually other islands in this world, and they are wanting to drive the boat to a different island. Don't forget that I have a huge idea about why Midas was in the underworld, but we'll explain it right after this. We really don't know anything about Chapter 5. We don't know where the island is located. We don't know if there's a 0 point. We don't know if there's a flip side. We don't know if the IO exists. We hardly know anything. And in Chapter 2, Season 2, when Midas first came, he revealed for the first time the IO. And there are a few hints on the Chapter 5 island that the IO still exist. One of these hints is that Dr. Sloan is seen on one of the monitors. This isn't just regular Dr. Sloan though, this is an older version of Dr. Sloan. In fact, the IO version of her. And Fortnite Chapter 5 has many similarities to Chapter 2. First off, it both happened right after the end of Chapter 1. We got used to the new map in Season 1, and then in Season 2, we actually see Midas return. In Chapter 2, Midas came and then showed us who the IO was. What if in Chapter 5, Season 2, he also shows us the IO again? In fact, if they are actually here. There's another huge theory. What if Midas takes his boat to the edge of the map and takes us to Season OG again? But this time, instead of OG Chapter 1, it's Chapter 2 OG. And he takes us back to the season he first showed up in. This could be a huge event, and would actually be incredible. We all know that Midas was trapped in the underworld by Hades, and by putting pieces together, we can assume that he went down to the underworld willingly, because if you die and go to the underworld, your body will be left where it died. But if you walk down to the underworld, you will still have your body, and Midas still has his body in the underworld with him. But why did Hades trap him, and why did Midas go into the underworld willingly? Well, I have a huge theory towards this idea. In the actual Midas Greek mythology, he has a daughter named Marigold. In this case, it's not the same Marigold we know, but more like jewels. One day, Midas accidentally touches his daughter and she turns into gold, and Midas has to pay a huge price in order to get her back. That's the Greek mythology version. Now, if we go to the Fortnite version, we can assume it is something similar. What if Midas accidentally turned jewels into gold, and in order to get her back, he had to go into the underworld and trade his life 4 jewels. That would explain why Hades wants him in prison so bad, and that would explain why he was down there in the first place.
If I'm successfully helping you understand the storyline, and if you're enjoying, make sure to subscribe and use code PBJ in the item shop. But this is just the beginning.
The Marigold yacht has just set sail towards the ocean, with Midas's crew on it. And this update actually teases the fact that the Chapter 6 island might be closer than we think, which we'll get into in a moment. We do not know what Midas's plan is yet, besides finding somewhere bigger than our current island. Because Midas says this island is too small for his ambitions, but this is where the real questions come into play. Usually the water isn't actual water, and it is just an illusion the 0 Point plays. But if they're using the boat to escape the island, maybe the water is real this time. And maybe they are actually going to a new island. This leads us to wonder, is the 0 Point even here? Or is it even anywhere? After the Big Bang, we haven't even seen the 0 Point at all, and we don't even know if it exists anymore. If it does exist, maybe that's where Midas is going, and if it doesn't exist, maybe that's why there's no border, and that's why the water is real. But Midas is the least of our worries right now, because the focus of Fortnite Season 2 is that Zeus wants all mortals dead, but we are fighting back. We are trying to prove our innocence to Zeus, and we have some people on our side. Hope is on our side, Aphrodite is on our side, Poseidon is on our side, and the reason these people are on our side is because of Peely. And oh boy, is Peely more important than we thought. The Oracle says that Peely is the thing holding the Omniverse together.
You should be glad Peely got this and not its intended recipient. You should know that Banana seems to be a linchpin holding together all of reality. Do with that information what you may.
This sounds crazy, like out of all people or things, Peely, but when we take a deeper look, it makes more sense. The Omniverse would have collapsed by now if Peely wasn't here, firstly because of Season 9 Chapter 1, when the monster came to the island and Jonesy predicted the future, protecting everybody on the island. Supposedly, Peely gave him the ability to predict this. And in Chapter 3, when Peely saved the 7 mech from dying, if he didn't do these things, the 0 Point would have been in the wrong hands or even destroyed. And this continues to this day. Peely got kidnapped, which allowed Jones to work with Hope, which allowed Hope to tell the gods who we are, giving us protection from Zeus. And if the storyline continues how it's been going, he will save us again in the near future. So, Peely saved us again. Zeus has decided to push back our demise for now, thanks to the gods that are on his side. This next part is very interesting though, and sort of provides a backstory to what happened in Season OG's ending. Before I explain that, if you're enjoying, make sure to subscribe and use code PBJ. And don't forget that there's a huge secret at the end of this video. A new character named Nura showed up on the island. Her description says, mysterious storyteller Nura collects myths and ancient tales as if they were priceless antiques. She is curious about the gods, but even more curious about the nature of Pandora's box. But this isn't the important part. The important part is her dialogue. Her dialogue tells a few stories. If we ask about the hawk and the mouse, she says, one day a mouse was being hunted by a hawk. As it swooped down, claws outstretched, the clever mouse darted towards the lake's edge. The hawk, seeing its reflection, turned away. It did not want to compete for its food, and the clever mouse returned home safe and sound. This is itching to be explained. Obviously, this is some sort of metaphor. The hawk being the hunter, and the mouse being the hunted. And if you think to the story right now, who is a character being hunted, and who is a character hunting? You could say Zeus, but no. What I'm thinking is Hades and Midas. Midas was trapped in the underworld and he escaped, so Hades is coming after him. And guess where Midas went? He went straight to the water side where Hades can come, I guess see his reflection, and go away. And at the end of the story, where does it say the mouse went? Back home. What if Midas goes back home to Chapter 2, Season 2, where he originally came from? This is personally what I think happened. This is why Midas fled. This is what the story is talking about. If we ask about the endless stars, she says, eons ago and very far away, the stars blinked out. one by one, until there were only a few left. Then, a brilliant owl helped a clever fox chew a hole through the world, and that tear ripped open all of space, filling the vast emptiness with an eternity of new stars. This one is very interesting to me. It immediately makes me think of the Big Bang from Chapter OG, but the stars blinking out makes me think of the last reality, because the last reality was destroying realities one by one until there was only one left. But when it mentions a brilliant owl and a clever fox, it makes me wonder who they are talking about. That tear ripped open all of space, filling the vast emptiness with an eternity of new stars. This makes me think of the Big Bang. The first thing we see is hundreds of new galaxies, which from a distance seem like stars. Maybe the owl and fox are Dr. Sloan and Jones. They both work together to go back in time to season OG, and the ripping open of all space sounds like the Big Bang's boom. So what do you guys think about this story? There is one more story she tells. The story of the moon and sun. And this story teases the fact that there might be a flip side to the Chapter 5 island. The moon and sun are playmates, taking chase after one another. It is said that if one ever slows, so does the other. Neither wants their game to end, ever. Something that might be more important is the fact that our island's code name is Helios, which means sun.
And this plays a huge part in the Chapter 5 storyline, but we'll have to talk about that in a second. In Fortnite right now, if you go to the very bottom of the map, you can see these two frogs who were currently getting married, pausing their marriage to look through a telescope south. They are looking over the horizon at the edge of the map, but what are they looking at? There are 15 other telescopes pointing in the same area, definitely hinting towards something coming to the island. And in today's video, we are going to explore what is coming to the island. And that's just one of the many parts of the new storyline.
The Wanderer draws near.
The Oracle mentioned dark skies, and we believed it was all from Zeus.
Storm clouds gather.
But in this new update, the Oracle reveals that we will end up defeating Zeus, and then the dark skies come. And there is a bigger reason for this, and it is far more worrying than Zeus.
Don't forget that prophecy, hero. Zeus was just the beginning. The skies will blacken. Be ready, hero.
Obviously, in Season 1, Pandora's box came and opened. And when it opened, it revealed the gods. But in Greek mythology, Pandora's box is opened not once, but twice. And the second opening reveals hope for the evil unleashed the first time. The Oracle mentions hope will guide you, and this could be meaning the character Hope, but it also could mean mentioning the hope from the second opening of Pandora's box. And maybe the dark skies will be coming from the second opening of the box. But there is something coming.
Something dark, something that might be the end of our island as we know it.
So far, this whole chapter, Chapter 2, has been replicated. In Season 1, there was a new island with Alter Ego and Society vs. Underground. And in Season 2, Midas's return. In Season 3, the Flood, one with water and one with sand. And Season 4, a Marvel season, as shown in the roadmap. But this Marvel season is very important, because finally, a new dialogue for Anwar mentions, eons ago and very far away, a hungry beast consumed star after star to warm its belly. Each light fizzled all too soon, and the beast grew restless for a light that could warm it forever. They say the beast still roams the dark, hunting for some eternal warmth it cannot snuff out. This reminds me of Galactus searching for the 0 point, the character that attempted to destroy our island, and guess what season? Chapter 2, Season 4. Does this hint at the return of Galactus? It would seem like it until we hear the Oracle say this.
But your war has not yet begun. Storm clouds gather. The Wanderer draws near. Even in the darkness, hope will guide you. I have seen the truth.
The Wanderer.
A character we have not seen or heard of before. This name fits the description mentioned that we thought might be Galactus. Maybe Season 3 will be about the Wanderer getting closer and closer until Season 4 when Marvel comes to save us from him. We have heard Anwar's description before somewhere else, with New Ra. Eons ago, very far away, the stars blinked out one by one until there were only a few left. This doesn't only sound like Galactus or the Wanderer, it reminds me of the Nothing as well. Do with that what you will, and comment your theories down below, but there is something more that no one is paying attention to. In the previous update, we had a character's dialogue named New Ra. She told stories identical to the stories Anwar is telling, but from a different angle. New Ra says when we ask about the hawk and the mouse, one day a mouse was being hunted by a hawk. As it swooped down, claws outstretched, the clever mouse darted towards the lake's edge. The hawk, seeing its reflection, turned away. It did not want to compete for its food, and the clever mouse returned home safe and sound. This is an interesting story. We can confirm it stands for something we haven't seen yet, or that is playing out right now. Because Anwar says, one day a hawk hunted a tiny mouse. As it swooped down, claws outstretched, it saw its own reflection in the lake. In that moment, the hawk understood for the first time the fear of the prey. The hawk flew off, still hungry and forever haunted the cost of the hunt. The hawk in this version of the story seems like it wasn't scared, but more of he felt bad and returned home. This side of the story gives another form of context, but I do not know what this is metaphorically standing for. In another story, Anwar and New Ra contradict each other. When we ask about the moon and sun, New Ra says the moon and sun are playmates, taking chase after one another. It is said that if one ever slows, so does the other. Neither wants their game to end, ever, but when we ask Anwar, he says the moon and the sun are siblings, searching endlessly for one another in the desert. If they found one another, they would stop and embrace, and reuniting, they would bring an end to day and night forever. The contradiction is that New Ra says neither wants their game to end, ever, but Anwar says that they would bring an end to day and night if they found each other. There is a deeper meaning to this dialogue though. It has to do with the flip side. And there is a crazy secret for the end of the video regarding the Wanderer. Chapter 5 Island's name is Helios, which means sun, and that might be related to this story. Maybe this story is talking about the Chapter 5 Island searching for the island named Moon? In Greek mythology, there is a name called Selene, which means moon, and Helios and Selene are related, but both are also related to the flip side of Chapter 2, Apollo and Artemis. Maybe the Chapter 5 island Helios can never see the moon Selene because Selene is on the other side of the island where they turn forever with their backs to each other and never face each other. This is what makes sense to me. It is very theorized, but it seems to work well. Fortnite just released a brand new loading screen that shows Hope and Jones looking at Pandora's box. We haven't seen Jones since Season 1, and Hope has been kinda hanging around. Hope and Jones stopped working together when Peely was saved, but since this image shows them together, maybe they're working together again to do something. A theory going around is maybe Jones is looking in the underworld because he thinks the 7 are dead and maybe he thinks he'll find the 7 there. But if that's not the case, I have no idea why Jones is at the Pandora's box. Maybe Hope is asking him for help this time. But now, for the final part of Season 2. Up until Season 3, there was just a live event. And it was one of the craziest events that we've ever gotten. And it led to this. Something is coming. Something big. The giant statue just came to life. Lightning strikes every hour. The eyes open. And this happens every day until... This is about to get crazy. But that isn't the only thing to focus on. We need to focus on the right side of this statue. And there are 4 other things that need to be focused on before we can watch this full event. 15 or so telescopes are looking south over the horizon. These telescopes are predicting something, and I think I know what it is. We have a few specific areas on the island to pay attention to. 1, the statue. 2, the south side of the island. 3, Pandora's box, but 4 and 5 are probably the most important.
Pandora's box opened and revealed the evil of the world and the gods. In the time that they've been here, the gods have tried eliminating all of humankind. In Greek mythology, Pandora's box is opened twice. The second time reveals hope for the evil revealed in the first. But before we can fully understand the hope that is coming, we need to pay attention to something that happened last month. Last month, the roadmap was leaked for 2024, and in this roadmap we see Season 3, and it has sand everywhere. My theory is that Chapter 5 is replicating Chapter 2. Season 1 was Altar versus Ego, and Underground versus Society, and in Season 2 was Midas, and Season 3 could be a flood. First with water, and now with sand. And this adds up. In Season 2, the season ended with a giant flood of water coming. And in this season, there's something similar coming. But how will we even get here, and what is the reason? Let's see if we can figure it out using everything so far. The Oracle says Zeus was just the beginning. Dark clouds will gather. The Wanderer draws near. There is something very creepy coming in this event. This statue has been here the whole season. And little did we know, it would play a bigger role in the end of it.
This statue just came to life, and lightning filled its structure. And then it began to move,
But how does this all connect?
Zeus's patience has just run empty. He uses his statue to electrocute Pandora's box. And as it keeps striking the box over and over again, it fills up even more until one day it explodes, leading to a giant sandstorm coming to the island. And within the sandstorm lies the Wanderer. And it's up to us in Season 3 to decide if the Wanderer is bad or not.
But this wasn't the only thing about Season 3 that we know of. Don't forget, we still have one more thing to cover at the end.
The Wanderer is probably inside of this sandstorm somewhere, and we can assume tons of POIs that'll come next season. My hope is that Season 3 is a completely sand-flooded island with the sand slowly going down, revealing the regular map underneath. If that's not going to happen, then what will happen is it'll just be a brand new desert biome. And at the end of all of this, the statue's lightning will turn red for the final stage. And then I assume the statue will attack the Pandora's box one more time, revealing the sandstorm in some way. But Zeus isn't just attacking Pandora's box. He is charging it up in some way. On the front orb of the box, we can see this. This looks like some sort of level that will be raising over the time period of him striking it down. I assume when it reaches the top, something will happen. Maybe Zeus is charging it up enough to give it enough life to open for the second time. Or maybe that's just the amount of life that it has left before it explodes. So before you watch this live event, this is where you should be looking. Obviously at the statue. Pay attention to what the statue does. Assuming that it just does the same thing it's done before, striking Pandora's box, the second place you need to look is obviously Pandora's box. The third place you need to look is the water surrounding Pandora's box, as I think that it'll spread to be brighter like the ones around it. And the fourth place to be looking is over the south side of the map, where the telescopes are looking. My prediction is that this is where the sandstorm will come from. And don't forget, at the beginning of this season, we had some sort of leak revolving around the idea that all of the water would turn into the water from the underworld. I don't know if this leak got scrapped, or maybe this is a secret part of the event, but keep an eye out for this as well. There are still a few things that we haven't even spoken about this video. We still don't know what Zeus's intentions are. Is he inviting the Wanderer, or is he trying to stop the Wanderer from coming? Is he trying to kill us, or is he trying to save us from the Wanderer? This is the event that happened today. Every motion and movement from the statue and the lightning was the same. The statue put his sword up in the air and struck lightning at the Pandora's box. But the only difference was that 1, the Pandora's box filled up more on that little level we have. And 2, just as I suspected, the water around it spread. But then the final live event happened. Zeus struck Pandora's box, causing it to explode, and something escaped from it. And it skipped across the water super far away and then exploded and made a sandstorm. This sandstorm is coming directly towards us, and there's a flashing light within it that is actually Morse code for get wrecked. Season 3's name is called Wrecked. We don't know if Morse code is telling us get wrecked, telling Zeus get wrecked as in a meme, or if it's saying you're going to get wrecked for season 3. And we're just about halfway through this chapter. So if you're enjoying, use code PBJ and subscribe. But there are some big things coming up. From Hope and Jones looking for the Pandora's box, all the way to a strange character showing up on the island and stalking everyone. This is everything you need to know from Fortnite Season 3, starting with day 1 all the way to the very end. Fortnite Season 3 is here, and there's a giant bunker that showed up on the island with it. This bunker is super mysterious and nobody knows what's underneath it yet, but I think that I just figured out what is. There are many secret storylines hidden within this update, the rest of the gods missing, with Cerberus being on the island still, the Wanderer still draws near, but isn't here yet, and many more things. Before I can explain the bunker, let's take a look at the overall season and how we got here. The sandstorm came closer and closer until it came to our island, and this boat showed up with it. And after this boat arrived, the people invaded, setting up camps all over the sand biome. And these people are trying to take over the island. And this is Megalodon, the boss of these people. So he's here and he is not here to help us. He's trying to take over the island. But also his ship has run out of fuel. So he has invaded and planted these nitro farms everywhere. And the nitro is currently charging up and fueling his boat so he can get back on the water. So now it's up to Hope, Jones, and us to stop them. So now that you know the main part of the storyline, we will soon be able to talk about the bunker. We have to look into some other things first. My original thought was that the Wanderer was with the Megalodon group and the sandstorm. And this was completely correct, but we'll talk about it more in a minute. Pandora's box exploded and left some giant evil things. One of them being Megalodon's group and one of them being the Wanderer. And the Wanderer is still not here, so we're trying to figure out who the Wanderer is and what they're going to do. And I think we have an inside source on who it might be. If you go up to the underworld... Wait. It's not the underworld. If you go up to Grim Gate, Cerberus is still there, which is weird considering every other Greek god is gone. And you can actually ask him about this. When you ask him about the gods, he says, Zeus fell down, ha ha ha. The gods have gone to find new domains. My master has left me here to prepare for her arrival. And that's all he says about that. But when you ask him about her arrival, he says she will arrive on the sweet summer wind. Do not talk to the queen. Do not bother the queen. She is taking a little vacation and needs her rest. Now, this leads us to wonder many things. Who is she that he is talking to? Why is he calling her queen? And what does this have to do with anything? Okay, so we have the answer to this question, but we explain it a little bit later. So stay tuned. Hades specifically told Cerberus to wait for her, and that she will come on the summer wind. Summer is just around the corner, but we don't even know who this is yet. But we do have some small leads. Because around the island, we have some big secrets hidden. On the train that has now been broken down and is no longer in use, there is a spray paint that looks like some weird, mysterious character. And there are things leading us to believe that this is the Wanderer. And get this same character is hidden in the loading screen for Megalodon. So this is very confusing. Is this the Wanderer, or is this a new character? And now, we finally have to answer the question that everybody's been asking. Is Megalodon Gunner? Like, seriously, he looks exactly like him. The first time we saw him in that little teaser trailer, everybody thought it was Gunner immediately. But that doesn't really make sense, because Gunner died to Dr. Doom in the comics. So why would he be back now? He's not even a part of the IO anymore, so this doesn't even make sense. But actually, it might make sense. First off, look at him. He's got the same hair, and guess what? They don't even take his mask off so we can't see his face. But if you look at his mask, it looks identical to the mask that Gunnar was wearing. But of course, it seems unlogical. So let's break it down. Gunnar died to Doctor Doom, and next season is leaked to be a Marvel season, with Doctor Doom being the main face. Maybe Doctor Doom will come back to destroy Gunnar if Gunnar survives. Megalodon is also using Nitro to fuel him permanently. You would think that this could just be a benefit to make him more powerful. But what if it's because he was almost dead and they needed something to bring him back to life and keep him alive? What if he's relying on the Nitro to survive? But also, we haven't seen Dr. Sloan yet, and we know that she is back eventually. She's been seen on one of the monitors, and we know that she'll come eventually. But maybe after season OG, they don't even know each other, and in this reality, maybe they never even met each other in the first place. In season OG, Dr. Sloan said that we would see each other again, but it would not be the same version of her. Maybe that's the same for Gunnar as well. Maybe this time, Gunnar is just a part of some weird group of people that want power. And what was Gunnar known for back in Chapter 3? Yeah, his fancy gloves. And guess what? In this season, there's something called Nitro Fists, which are basically the same thing he used to have. Coincidence? Maybe. And finally, we can hear Jones and Hope having a conversation. Everything is normal, pretty much they're just arguing, until at the end when Hope says something very disturbing. Take a listen.
Jones, you're late.
I just dethroned the King of Olympus. I think I've earned some downtime.
First of all, we dethroned the King of Olympus. Second, no. I've been watching Megalodon. I don't like what I see.
I don't care.
Bring your friend.
Okay.
My sister, Valeria, is the arrogant super genius who found a way to summon Pandora's box. So I kind of consider myself on the hook for fixing this ever-expanding mess. You know, Jones.
Just so you know, Hope here has a little bit of a habit of picking a fight with the biggest bully she can find. So we should make sure that we are in fighting shape.
I spent some time poking around Meg's camp. I was right. The man's a full-blown wannabe tyrant. He wants to take the island. And he might just be strong enough. But he's not gonna make his move until his little shark ship is refueled. Which explains the pipeline. Jones and I are gonna keep gathering intel. You keep fighting.
She's got her sights set on Megalodon.
Make us look good. Hey, Jones? I heard something out there I really don't like. Maybe it's time for us to round up the surveillance equipment.
Like, bad something or bad something?
Just chatter. I hope.
So now we know that Megalodon is planning something, but we don't know what it is yet until Hope tells us. But there's one more secret about Hope that was revealed this season. She used to work with the Society before she joined the Underground. The reason we know this is because Oscar is back on the island for some reason. He left the Society. They all left the island or died. One or the other, I don't know. But he survived and stayed back. But he also explained that Hope used to be a part of the Society and then left it after figuring out who they really were.
So that's interesting. We finally got some more backstory on Hope. But we have so many mysteries to solve still. And I promise they're all going to be solved soon. Right after you subscribe. Starting with Chapter 2's island being hidden in-game and each season looking more and more like Chapter 2. There are many secrets and Easter eggs pointing towards the return of Chapter 2. Some players have realized that when in the car and controlling the turret, you hold an iPad. And this iPad shows the Chapter 2 island. This could be a teaser for Season OG 2, but that's not the only thing teasing the return of Chapter 2. And we have 15 other secrets in-game that we need to look at. It's been over 3 years since we have had Chapter 2, but players are speculating that Chapter 2 will be the next Season OG. Fortnite reintroduced Midas, only for him to leave again a week later. But why would he leave and where did he go? Well, I think we all know the answer I'm about to give. He went to Chapter 2. Okay, but where is the evidence? Well, the user Me, Myself, and AJ just found a huge secret that directly hints towards this. And it's been right in front of us since the very beginning of Chapter 2, and it lies beyond the island. Forever in Fortnite there have been these outer islands. These have never had anything to do with the storyline or anything in game until Pandora's box struck one and caused the sand to come to our island. Now, whether you believe that or not, the outer islands mean something. Fortnite is at least trying to show us something here, and I'm about to explain why. In Chapter 2, even on day 1, when Cypher jumped out of the bus, it was there. There was an outer island that looked like this, and in Chapter 5, there's one that we see the exact same. And you might be thinking, oh, but this is just a reused asset. But it's inverted, which you would think if it's a reused asset, they wouldn't take the time to invert it, which means we are probably seeing it from the other side that Chapter 2 saw it from. Could we possibly be seeing this mountain from the other side? This isn't the only secret in Chapter 5 though. We still have many more secrets that are just as juicy as this one, including the return of Valeria. These little blue guys dancing and singing have been around since Chapter 2. Some people call them coral buddies, but in Chapter 5 they had their own little pirate cave. But this cave was just the beginning, because they made their way to the giant Mount Olympus statue and somehow survived the whole live event. I wonder what they'll do next. But that isn't the only mystery that has been stuck around since Season 1. Hope, the main character of Chapter 5, is still here, and she's on the hunt for something. In her room, you can see a strange piece of Pandora's box. When speaking with her, she says she is on the hunt for Pandora's box with Jones, and they need to find it for some reason. But the reason is revealed when you look at the spray above the piece of Pandora's box. This spray is Pandora's box, obviously, but there is one difference from this spray and the regular box that teases everything. Before we explain that, we need to explain what happened to Chaos Agent. Because in the trailer, we can see Chaos Agent being thrown off the ship. This surprises everyone. Why was Chaos Agent suddenly back, and what just happened to him? Some players have noticed that Megalodon looks very similar to Big Chuggus, but this actually isn't just a coincidence. Secretly, this has a huge meaning. Chaos Agent created Big Chuggus back in Chapter 2, and this is exactly the reason why he was with Meg. He was helping Meg create Nitro and use it to fuel himself, but once Meg got what he needed from him, he simply threw him out. Don't forget that we still have many more secrets to cover, just like the time that I was wrong about a huge secret. In my last storyline video, I spoke about a huge secret. In Grimgate, Cerberus is still there. Even though every boss has left besides a few, he remains for some reason. And you can actually ask him about this. When you do, he said that Hades left him there to wait for someone, and that she will come on the summer breeze, and he kept calling her Queen. I was blind for some reason and didn't even think about the Queen of the Underworld, Persephone. Now we have to talk about Pandora's box and the special spray about it. But don't forget, we have a giant secret for the end of the video that you cannot miss. The box is open, but the last and only time that the box is opened, it revealed lots of bad and evil. But when looking at this spray, it has peace signs and hearts. Interesting, right? Well, it doesn't end there. In Greek mythology, Pandora's box was opened twice, and the second time revealed hope for the evil that came from the first. Coincidence? No. I'm almost positive we will find Pandora's box and it will save us from the Wanderer that is coming. Speaking of the Wanderer, who is it? Before we get into that, we have to talk about one more Chapter 2 theory, and a few other secrets. Pay close attention here because we're about to dive into some huge theories. One thing to mention is that when I mention any island name, I am also talking about Greek mythology characters. I am only using the island images because that is what applies to this situation. Chapter 5 has been named Helios, and in Greek mythology, Helios is closely related to Apollo. Apollo was the Chapter 2 island codename. The sibling of Apollo was Artemis, and that was the Chapter 3 island. When you look at the name Helios, it means sun, and there's a name called Selene, which means moon. That is siblings with Helios, and also closely related to Artemis. I believe that this is not only showing us that Chapter 5 is replicating Chapter 2, but that there might even be a flip side revealing Chapter 6 to be codenamed Selene, replicating Chapter 2's ending. Okay, that might have been too much theory and looking too deep into things, but the rest are a lot more simple and very interesting. This bunker is still a huge mystery. But the good news is, by the end of the video, we will have this solved. Right after you subscribe. Okay, one more incredible secret before we talk about the Wanderer. On the Chapter 5 island, Peely is here, but when you talk to him, the only thing that comes up is Nana Nana, which makes sense. He doesn't speak English. But that isn't the secret. The secret is that when wearing the banana skin, we can actually translate the words to what he is saying. Maybe this is why he's always confused, because he just simply doesn't understand. But when you do translate, this is what he says.
True wisdom, seedling, is embracing your limits. We cannot know everything in this world, but we can open our hearts to everything all the same.
Bruh. And before we talk about the Wanderer, there is one more Chapter 2 secret that we need to talk about. If you look at Season 1, the map looked like this. Season 2, the map looked like this. And in Season 3, this is what the map looks like. The map seems to be progressing more and more towards Chapter 2. At least that's what it looks like. The shape is becoming more and more like Chapter 2 as the chapter goes on. And this is where we finally start getting more information about the Wanderer. Because he's there, in the distance, hiding. After months of hearing about the Wanderer from others on the island, he is finally here for us to see him. But the Wanderer isn't the only worry on the island. There are a few characters that are threatening the island. One of them is inside the bunker that has finally opened. And now we get to see who or what was inside. If you pay close attention and listen, you will hear some very creepy music. This music almost makes you feel like you're being watched. The Wanderer will begin spawning in, watching us from a distance. But when we notice him and get closer, he will vanish. There is some huge information about the Wanderer that we haven't picked up on yet. Meg not only mentioned him, but gave us some vital information about discovering who the Wanderer might actually be. There are voice lines that Meg have that says, "Don't bother the Wanderer. He has important matters to resolve on the island, and don't try to peek under the hood to see his face. It is a vision beyond what your puny minds could comprehend. He never lets me see his face either." There are many hints to who the Wanderer could be. Some believe that it is the Shapeless Man, someone with a face that no one can comprehend and he just floats there. He is shapeless, and fits the description that Riftward and Stellan gave us in Chapter 4.
I cannot sleep. The Shapeless Man's gaze burns into me.
The tricky part is that some believe the Shapeless Man to be Geno, and some believe him to be the Nothing. Both fit the description. Adding on to the Geno theory, if Meg actually is Gunner, that would mean that this would be his second time working with Geno. Something interesting to note that was pointed out by Restro, if you compare the body size of the Foundation to the body size of the Wanderer, they match up perfectly. I'm not saying that's who it is, but regardless, it is a decently muscular person. But we have much more to talk about today, and don't forget that Five Nights at Freddy's might be coming to the game somehow. Hope could be possibly turning evil, and the bunker has finally opened. Hope and Jones have been working together still. Currently, they are looking for these strange gems so that they can find Pandora's box. But with Jones seeing what happened to Valeria, he warned Hope that when dealing with this kind of stuff, make sure not to get lost in it, as that is what happened to Jones with the 0 points. Hope shrugs it off though, but this might be vital to the rest of the storyline. If Hope isn't careful, we could see her turn to the dark side like her sister Valeria, and there is even more to this. In the recent voice lines, Hope tells us that each time she comes near these gems, she has a strange feeling, and she gets headaches and visions.
Scar seems to think you're cool, and she's willing to trade the gem. Bring that gem to me. We should talk.
The next gem is with a situation named Peabody.
You got the gem. Just one left. And it's with him. Megalodon. Something about being around these gems. It makes me feel, I don't know, nauseous, but in a good way. And this headache. And the visions. Don't tell Jones. I don't want him to worry. And we're so close to getting the good ending here. I'll be in touch.
This is weird. There seems to be a strange connection to Hope's family and Pandora's box. The same thing happened with Valeria. Let's hope that Hope doesn't take the same path as Valeria. We managed to collect every gem left besides one, and this last gem is with Megalodon. This isn't going to be an easy fight. Meg is clearly our enemy here, and I have a feeling he won't give it over to us. But who knows what will happen if the wrong person finds Pandora's box again. Cerberus was teasing something at the beginning of the season, and we just now got confirmation of what it was. Don't forget that we found out what was in the bunker, but we'll tell you after this. He kept calling the person Queen, and that they would come on a summer wind, and many players realized that it fit the description of Persephone, or Persephone, I have no idea how to pronounce her name, the Queen of the Underworld. And that guess would actually be correct, because she just arrived on the island. You can get her outfit in the crew pack. But finally, the bunker. And actually, players have found another bunker within this update. But I'll explain who was in this bunker first. The bunker has been revealed and no one expected what was inside. Before the bunker was opened, some players realized that there were scratch marks on the floor nearby, as if somebody struggled while being put inside. But who could make these scratches? Subscribe before I tell you. Wolverine, maybe? But Wolverine was exactly right. In fact, Weapon X. He was trapped inside of one of these tubes, but if you pay attention, there are 2 tubes. So who was in the other one? Well, one of them has a banana in it. And assuming that this is teasing who was inside, it might have been Wolverine Peely. Okay, I don't know about that one, but something crazy was teased with Wolverine's return. In his promo image, we can see a character that has been missing for years. Subscribe before I tell you, the Imagined. If you didn't know, the Imagined was a part of the 7, and in the comics, she kinda had a little thing going on with Wolverine. But that isn't what's important. What is important is that they mentioned these comics. The Imagined died, fighting her father, Geno. But seeing her in-game almost seems to be hinting at the return of Geno, maybe being the Wanderer. Now for the new bunker that was found. In the new Reload game mode, players have found an IO bunker hidden underneath tilted towers. This is really weird. Does the IO still exist? And this also isn't the only place that have IO bunkers. They have also found some in Lego. The bunker is opened and no one expected Wolverine to be inside. But that isn't the only thing that we were wrong about this season, because there is a huge unsolved mystery revolving around the Wanderer. Who is he? What is he here to do? Have we seen him before? All of these questions are still unanswered, but the Fortnite community has been jumping to too many conclusions, and they are completely incorrect. There's also a huge secret that everyone is missing, but that is for the end of the video. When asking the Fortnite community the simple question of who do you think the Wanderer is, everyone has a similar answer. Geno. But why does everyone think it's Geno? And is there any evidence? Well, yes and no. When looking at the Wanderer, we can see that he has no shape. The only part of him with a shape is his cloak. We know the Wanderer is here to do more evil than good, so with all of this in mind, we can safely guess that the Wanderer is most likely the Shapeless Man. But to get more information about the Shapeless Man, we need to go back to Chapter 4, Season 1, when a character named Stellan was asked to create a rift gate. But the character that tasked him to do this was someone that Stellan feared the most. Stellan called him a Shapeless Man, claiming that the Shapeless Man has stalked his dreams, haunted him, and tortured him. And he also snuck in the sentence that the Shapeless Man imagined a world of perfect order. This led to everyone thinking that the Shapeless Man was Geno, because Geno always wanted to make every reality perfect. So basically, people think the Shapeless Man is the Wanderer, and they think that Geno was the Shapeless Man. But with other information, it rules it out. Now this line could also be talking about the last reality, because as seen by their name, they wanted to create the last reality and make it perfect. So this almost rules out Geno being the shapeless man from just that information, because the last reality also applies. Another piece of information that speaks against Geno: the Wanderer came from the Pandora's box. And why would Geno be trapped inside of Pandora's box? Now, when we say the last reality, I am talking more about the Nothing. The Nothing sounds more like who Stellan described, and the Nothing was, in fact, shapeless. There's another flaw with the shapeless man being Geno. Geno wasn't shapeless, but the argument is that Geno died and was rebuilt, and maybe after being rebuilt, he was shapeless. But I will give it to you. There are many things that the shapeless man said that seems to be like Geno. Is it even realistic to assume that the Nothing would return in Chapter 5? We don't know. That's why we all might be even more wrong than we thought. But I'll explain that in a minute. I won't completely get rid of the Geno theory, because there is a lot of evidence in Chapter 5 that Geno might be returning, such as the Ageless Explorer. He came to the island recently, and he's been looking around for some icy secrets. We don't know what the secret ended up being, but maybe it was the bunker hidden under the snow, or maybe there's something else hidden underneath the snow that we haven't seen yet. And then there's Odyssey, which seems to be either the sister or the female counterpart of Geno. And she's still on this island, we just don't know what she's planning to do. And then there's Wolverine. And if you didn't know, Wolverine and Imagined had a little bit of a thing going on. But Imagined was Geno's daughter. And in Wolverine's promo image, you can see the Imagined in the background. But this comic scene that she was from was actually the moment that she revealed that Geno was her father. It could all just be a big coincidence, but maybe it's not. And maybe Geno is going to return as the Wanderer. Or maybe the Wanderer is just a brand new character. I am not fully saying that the Wanderer can't be Geno, and I'm not fully saying that the Wanderer is the Nothing. What I am saying is that there is no idea to know as of right now. Just like we have no idea what Jones and Hope are doing. But don't forget, we have a huge secret at the end of the video that will explain everything. Oh, and by the way, subscribe to help me hit 20k subs by the end of the summer. Okay, I exaggerated. We know what Jones and Hope are doing, but we don't know why. Jones and Hope are searching for Pandora's box. All we are going off of so far is that Hope gets a weird feeling when around it, and that she feels like she needs to fix everything that is happening.
Something about being around these gems, it makes me feel, I don't know, nauseous, but in a good way. And this headache and the visions. Don't tell Jones. I don't want him to worry.
Headaches and weird feelings are pretty normal. Those could almost classify as regular. But the same cannot be said for visions. What are these visions that she's having? The only place that we've ever seen visions in Fortnite is Bunker Jonesy in Chapter 1 and the Nothing. I doubt that Bunker Jonesy is somehow related to this season, so does that really mean that she is currently being tricked by the Nothing? Personally, I don't think that's the case. But there's one more thing besides Bunker Jonesy and the Nothing that we overlooked: the Shapeless Man. In Chapter 4 Season 1, Stellan had visions from the Shapeless Man.
Tonight, I dream of stars, swallowed in darkness, and the Shapeless Man waiting. I cannot sleep. The Shapeless Man's gaze burns into me.
Could this actually be connected to the Wanderer? If the Wanderer is the Shapeless Man, maybe the Wanderer is trying to get inside of Hope's head. Maybe even luring out the Pandora's box a second time so the Wanderer can do something with it. Is this all one giant trick? I can assume it'll be like a Rift Warden Stellan situation where over the season they will reveal what kind of vision she's having. We know that opening Pandora's box for the second time in Greek mythology leads to hope for the evil released in the first opening. Maybe if we open it again, the Wanderer and Meg will be taken away. We also still have no idea where Valeria is. Will she come back soon, or will she stay missing until Chapter 6? But finally, a secret that will change Chapter 5 as we know it. Magneto is here, and he has begun building more and more rift beacons. No one knows what they are for, but the Marvel storyline seems to be a separate storyline from the Wanderer and Megalodon. So there must be something bigger and worse coming. something that Magneto is preparing for. Because it doesn't seem like he's preparing to take down the Wanderer. It seems like there's something bigger coming. So let's quickly recap. We have two choices. The Wanderer could either be the Shapeless Man or a brand new character that we've never seen. And for the Shapeless Man, we have three choices. 1, it's Geno. 2, it's the Nothing. And 3, it's a new character. Using given clues and hints, we can narrow down the Shapeless Man to be the Nothing rather than Geno. And the Wanderer also fits the description of the Nothing and the Shapeless Man. Hope has begun seeing some weird visions and feeling weird headaches. We can assume that this is from some powerful being, such as the Shapeless Man, the Nothing, or the Wanderer. Magneto is on the island and he's preparing for something huge. But he's preparing, he's not fighting. The Wanderer is already here, so if he was preparing, it would be too late, which means he's preparing for something other than the Wanderer, which means somebody huge is going to be coming. Use code PBJ, subscribe. The boat is moving through the map, destroying everything in its path. At least that's what Megalodon's plan is. And there has been a live event teaser this whole season that no one has caught on to, and it lies right in front of us. But on the other hand, Hope and Jones are searching for Pandora's box, and they have almost found it. But Megalodon has the last piece that they need, and it won't be that easy to get to. And there's another huge secret that is teasing season 4, but we will mention that later, because first, we need to look at Megalodon's boat. So obviously here is the boat, and this is what the live event will be based around. But the thing that we need to be looking at right now is not the boat, but rather, let's kill this guy real quick. I'm too good. Okay, so it's actually right here. This is the teaser. They seem to be building something leading towards the ship. And on day 1, Megalodon told us his exact plan. Let me take care of this guy real quick. This has been here all season, but the interesting part isn't the boat itself, it's something else. He just ran. Okay, now I get to show you guys what I'm talking about here. Basically, Megalodon's ship came to the island, and there was this huge pipeline leading towards it, but it wasn't yet connected. But here's the thing. They are actually connecting it right now. They're building more and more towards it, showing us that they will eventually refuel the Megalodon ship. As you can see, this whole thing is empty. As time goes on, we will see it fill up with nitro, getting closer and closer towards the ship. There is a secret fuel gauge. This tells us exactly how much fuel is going into the Leviathan ship. Of course, it's on empty right now, but as the season goes on, I'm assuming it'll be full, and it'll work as a countdown until it gets full. And since this is hollow, I assume that we will be able to see it moving through the pipes. But the interesting thing is that this thing goes all the way further to the Red Line rig, where they are actually pulling it out of the ground and making the nitro. So this whole season, they've been preparing to fuel the ship, and we are just now noticing. But that is only one of the secrets leading up to season 4. According to Hope's dialogue, Megalodon is planning to recharge his boat using nitro and drive through the island, cutting the island in half. This is not ideal, but it seems like Hope and Jones are doing nothing to stop this until a few weeks go by and we have a challenge that tells us to destroy the pipeline. The only question left now is, will we destroy the pipeline before Megalodon can charge his boat? And if not, what will happen after? But of course, this isn't the only thing we are talking about today. But this is actually perfect because I am headed right towards the huge season 4 teaser. But before I can show you that, we have many more teasers and secrets to talk about. Starting with the Pandora's box. Pandora's box went missing at the end of season 2. The box went into the ocean, but Hope seems dedicated to finding the Pandora's box, which is strange considering they have a whole crew of evil people on the island trying to destroy the island. Why is Pandora's box so important? Does she know something we don't? Is there some sort of saving feature of Pandora's box that can deliver us from Megalodon and the Wanderer? I mean, she knows the dangers of them, but she doesn't do anything about it. Why? I guess only time will tell, just like with the Wanderer. But don't forget, we have many more unsolved mysteries and teasers to look at before the video ends. The Wanderer is still unsolved. Like, who is he? This random dude just shows up on the island and thinks he has all that aura to just walk around menacingly and claims to be too powerful for us to even see his face. Like, bro, who do you think you are? Hope and Jones don't seem to know about him yet, which is worrying. And for some reason, he is working with Megalodon. Not because they want the same thing, but because it benefits each other to work together. The only thing we know about him is that he watches from a distance. But why is he watching? What is he looking for? What is he waiting for? We don't know the answer yet. Similar to how we don't know what the Coral Buddies are doing. But don't forget, there is a huge secret for Season 4. We've been keeping up with the Coral Buddies all chapter. In the beginning, they were hiding in this little secret cave, and then we saw some on top of the statue, but now, with the Pirates of the Caribbean update, they are telling you to subscribe. Because we're almost at 20k subscribers. Okay, fine, they weren't saying that. They're back in the cave, but this time it has been updated to look like a hideout for the pirates. And the Coral Buddies are up to something weird. For some reason, they've tied up a gnome. We will keep looking at what these guys are doing as the chapter goes on. Something similar to the Coral Buddies is the Rock family. We have also been keeping up with their storyline this chapter, but this time it's a little weird. With Season 1, they were getting married, but in Season 2, this was updated and they started looking through a telescope into the distance, which was a teaser for the giant sandstorm coming. But where are they now? They have already had kids, and they are just enjoying life right now, eating dinner with each other. But that's enough of the small storylines. It's finally time to talk about the main Season 3 storyline. We might end up dying to Storm for this, but I think I have to do it. I need to show you guys this teaser. Into the storm I go. 35 HP. I just need to make it to the teaser. That's all I've got to do. This is the next teaser. It is a Marvel beacon. The last time we saw this thing was in Chapter 2, Season 4, when Tony Stark came to the island to save the day. But this time, Tony Stark is not coming, but somebody else is. And we don't even know who it is yet. These beacons have randomly appeared on the island, and they are heavily related to Marvel. But the only Marvel characters we've gotten this season is Wolverine and Magneto. So who built these? I mean, I guess Magneto did, but who or what is he preparing for? In my opinion, it would make sense that it would be something like Galactus again. Maybe not exactly Galactus, but somebody similar that poses a great threat. Or else there wouldn't really be a need for the Marvel characters to come again. But we still have so many questions about the storyline. Like, who is the Wanderer actually? What is he doing? What are the Marvel characters preparing for? Will Megalodon actually be able to complete his plan? What will unlocking Pandora's box again actually set free? Where is Valeria?
From questions all the way from Season 1, like Valeria going missing, to Season 4, we have finally begun to start getting some answers. But before we can answer those questions, Fortnite has just brought up a new question.
Hope has been lying to us since Season 1. Okay, as crazy as this sounds, there is so much evidence and explaining for this. And there are also 5 other secrets, like Galactus's return, and many more secrets that we have to talk about throughout this video. But of course, starting with Hope, if that's even her real name. A new Megalodon voice line has just come out. The voice line says a lot of stuff. He talks about tearing through the island with the Leviathan.
It will tear through this island with its teeth.
And basically, his whole purpose here is to destroy the island. But this isn't the weird part. The weird part is that he finally realized Hope and Jones are trying to stop him. But he said some weird stuff about Hope. Take a listen.
It is my birthday, and I know exactly the gift I wish of you. That broken has-been named Jones, and the charlatan artist calling herself Hope. Bring me their heads!
Did you catch that? He says the charlatan artist calling herself Hope. I wasn't familiar with the word charlatan, so when I looked it up, the definition is a person falsely claiming to have a special knowledge or skill, a fraud. But Hope doesn't claim to have any special powers or anything, besides maybe the headaches, but Meg wouldn't know about those. But there is one thing that makes complete sense. But first, we need to look at something else. Persephone says to Hope, "So you're..." All I can say is good luck. This is not a normal response. Persephone knows who Hope is, but she doesn't say her name. Is this because Hope could be lying to us about who she actually is? With Megalodon calling her a liar and Persephone pausing at her name, this all lines up. But why would Hope hide her name? Well, what if Hope is Pandora? Maybe that's why she has such a big calling for the box? But still, why would she even be here? Why would she be on this island teaming with Jones trying to take down the society if she's someone as powerful as Pandora? It seems almost like Hope has had her memory wiped. There is only one more thing that hints at this idea, but that is explained towards the middle of this video, so stay tuned. In the meantime, we have many secrets and teasers for Season 4 that you need to see, starting with Galactus. There was a huge teaser for Season 4 that no one expected, and along with that, the storyline is going into overdrive as we see the return of many characters, the Wanderer's identity revealed, and a live event build-up. But first, let's talk about the teaser for Season 4, Galactus. In Chapter 2, Season 4, Galactus arrived to the island, threatening to destroy the whole island. We put a stop to him, but we did not kill him. Instead, we sent him back to his original homeland. And in Chapter 5, Season 4, he might be returning. The leaked roadmap for 2024 shows this image for Season 4, and if you look at it, it is Doctor Doom, which honestly has a lot to do with Marvel recently, but moving past that. Originally, it just looks like the return of Doctor Doom, until leaks show a whole Marvel season, and not only Marvel, but possibly the return of Galactus. But what is the evidence, you may ask? Let me show you. Marvel just teased Galactus themselves with a giant light show, but at the end we see something very interesting. Roll the clip. So this isn't just for Marvel, but for Fantastic Four as well. The only info we have about Season 4 is that it's Marvel and Doctor Doom. That is it. Right? Well, when we look at this image even further, we realize that it is a reused comic cover. But what was the original comic? A Fantastic Four comic. Which means that this isn't just Doctor Doom, but all of Fantastic Four. And with Galactus coming to Fantastic Four just a month before Season 4, this has to be teasing the return of Galactus. And Galactus came to Fortnite before the MCU, so this is possible. I mean, outside of comics and stuff, that is. But just like I mentioned earlier, this is only one of the many things Fortnite is teasing, and the others are just as good. The storyline is going into overdrive, and there are many characters returning. And the first returning character is Nisha. She's been found at Lavish Lair, doing backflips and stuff, I guess. When you go up to her, she has three options: the Society, Hope, and Valeria. This is what she says for the Society. Before we can read what she says about each of these guys, we're gonna have to take this player out. It's up there somewhere in this building. Right here. Got her. Alright, let's go take a look at what she says. So out here, if you talk to Nisha, this is what she says for the Society. My family was in the Society for generations. I will admit, even with all I lost, I am not sad to see it crumble. I made sacrifices in order to keep our family name in good standing. Perhaps in the absence of my family's legacy, I am finally free. And when you ask about Hope, she says, Hope has given me the hard sell to join her underground and make a better world. The world will always be complicated. Hope cannot change that. But who am I to turn my back on her when she's willing to embrace me after? Perhaps my brother and I will join her little group. And when you ask her about Valeria, she says, I don't know where Valeria went or what she was up to. All I know is she drained the society's coffers doing it. If I see her again, she'd better hope I don't have my foil on hand. That is all that Nisha has to say. But she also has some secret dialogues between certain characters, which I'll show you in just a moment, because there is another secret that has been added to the storyline. This time it has to do with the Oracle. Oh! Just on topic, it was the Hope skin. This time, the Oracle shows up in some sort of dialogue. When Hope gets her hands on all of the gems for the piece of Pandora's box that was missing, it reveals the Oracle. The Oracle mentions that she has some talking. Well, you know what? Let me just show you. Take a listen to what the Oracle and Hope have to say. But before I show you that, subscribe and like.
I need that last gem. Right now.
Is that you speaking, or is this some sort of Pandora's box power thing? Asking because your tone is frightening.
I'm fine. Another headache. Pipeline's almost done. We're running out of time to get the final gem. Take out guards, blow up his stronghold, search backpacks, whatever it takes.
That's the last one.
Okay, give me the gem. Ah! Who are you? Call me the Oracle, my child. And oh boy, do we have some talking to do.
The Oracle shows up and leaves us on a cliffhanger. Oh boy, do we have some talking to do. This makes us wonder what she will say. Maybe the Oracle has finally come to tell Hope about the Wanderer, or maybe where Valeria is. Another thing I forgot to mention is that the pipeline is almost finished. There is only one more stretch to add before it reaches the boat, and what happens after this is still a mystery, but we can only assume that it will fuel up the boat and the boat will begin moving through the map. We still don't know who the Wanderer is, but many believe that it has been teased all along. And before I reveal that, comment what you're most excited for about Season 4, and subscribe while you're down there. We're aiming to hit 20k subs before Season 4, and if we can get close to that, I will do 3 Battle Pass giveaways for Season 4. Back to the video. Players are comparing Dr. Doom to the Wanderer, similar shape and appearance. Dr. Doom is the face of Fortnite Season 4, but the only thing that bothers me about this is that I feel like Dr. Doom isn't the kind of guy to sit back and watch for this long. But maybe I'm wrong. Subscribe.
With Season 4 right around the corner, Fortnite is finally teasing the Wanderer's identity. And not only that, but Hope has superpowers and Pandora's box is finally back. But it has ended up in the wrong hands. A lot has happened, and a lot is happening, and we are explaining exactly what's going on, and what to expect for Fortnite Season 4, starting with the live event. When you drop into Fortnite right now, one of the first things you'll see is a giant countdown, and so far this whole chapter, there haven't been any countdowns for the events. Obviously, this asks the question, what is going to happen in this live event? Well, on the radio, this whole season, Megalodon has been hacking it and scaring all of the players, saying things like, I will cut this island in half with my ship, and off with their heads, or whatever.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal.
But recently, even more have been coming up. But not just from Megalodon, from Hope. Hope has finally found out about the Wanderer, because the Oracle told her. But there is actually a lot more going on with the Oracle than we thought. But more on that in a moment, because Hope keeps breaking into Fortnite's radio, and when she does, she says this.
Here, if you see the Wanderer, do not engage. I don't know what's coming, but it's not pretty. That said, I promise you, no matter what comes next, we will fight it. We're never doomed until we surrender.
Hope finally knows about the Wanderer, and she declares war against him, but these aren't the only voice lines from Hope, and the other ones are really, really weird. Play the clip.
So, confession time. I've been talking to Magneto.
Oh, great! Because he seems trustworthy. Why are you talking to Magneto?
Well, he came to talk to me.
Things are about to get weird, aren't they?
Well, I summoned a magic water ghost, so... Ghost? I am a seer.
Basically, Hope said that she was talking to Magneto, but the Oracle cut her off. And apparently, Hope has found a connection between the Oracle and herself, and now she can summon her at any moment. But what happens in their conversation next is really important. And it's something that you're better off to just listening to rather than hearing me say it. So pay attention, this is about to get good. Subscribe before I play it.
Do you want to talk or not? Yeah, fine. Okay, walk with me. This box should destroy you, but instead, it talks to you. What does it show you? What does it say? When I connect to the box, it promises me everything I've ever wanted. Peace, harmony, hope. I know that it's just showing me what I want to see. That if I give in, it'll destroy me.
Hey, I know you. We're not gonna let that happen.
It's not that easy, Captain Tough Guy. Hope and this box, they're linked by fate, by the cycles of time and destiny eternal. But the Wanderer, his interference has warped this fate. His presence has rewritten the stars themselves. And now it is not enough to simply close the box. You must fight. And you must win. Do you see it now? You were meant to be the hope at the bottom of Pandora's box. I get it. It's literal. It's literally your name. Take it up with the fates, okay? This Wanderer has taken the box's power for himself, and he has sealed your fate along with his. There is no turning back for you now. You must fight this Wanderer. But I'm just Hope. I don't know if I am who you think I am. If you take a stand, others will follow. You need not stand alone. But Hope, you already have everything you need. Prepare for a war, my child.
Okay, so let's recap. Hope summons the Oracle, and the Oracle fills us in on some backstory. Last time, the island was making it seem almost like Hope was lying about something, or maybe hiding something from us. And I guessed that Hope wasn't her actual name, but instead, we were all misunderstood. They were talking about the power that Hope could have when coming in contact with the box. The Oracle mentions how Hope is tied to the box, and fate has already decided what was supposed to happen. Hope was supposed to finally unlock her power when reaching Pandora's box, but something got in the way. The Wanderer. But why? Well, we actually know who the Wanderer is now, and that explains a lot. But let's continue with the Oracle's story. The Oracle says we have a war we need to fight, a war we need to win. Hope seems worried about how she feels near the box, but the Oracle says it's too late to back down. She needs to fight the Wanderer for the box. But hold on. Why are we talking about Pandora's box already? Didn't it get destroyed or lost last season? Well, yes and no. It was lost, but it turns out it's back. And it was right in front of us the whole time. In the files, leakers found an audio file that sounds like lava. But this is a hint to where the Pandora's box is, because when we look further, we can see that it was locked and hidden underneath the rig. During the event, we will see Magneto blow up the rig, revealing a pool of nitro and the Pandora's box lying within it. And there's a loading screen of Megalodon yelling at the mechanist because of the oil rig exploding. But this is how the Wanderer beats us to it, because he was already prepared. He had already knew where the box was, and that is why he had sided and teamed with Megalodon, because he knew Megalodon's plan would fail, and that we would be forced to remove the rig, because if we don't, the rig would have finished fueling the boat, leading to us getting our island torn in half. So the Wanderer beat us to it. He outsmarted us. But why does the Wanderer want the box? And who even is he? Magneto's dialogue says, I can't verify the Wanderer is who I think he is. But if it is him, if he's the one seizing the box's power, this place might be doomed. Well, the answers were right in front of us this whole time. In each of these voice lines, the same things keep appearing.
this place might be doomed. Dr. Doom. But why? And what does he want? He wants the power from the box, just like Hope, except Hope was supposed to get the powers, not Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom wants them for evil, but Hope wants them for good. So, we might be in big trouble here if we can't get this. The Oracle can't see what will happen next, and it's up to us to stop Dr. Doom before it's too late. And that is what Season 4 will be about, a war for Pandora's box. We will get to see and fight as the war goes on. We will probably bring in teammates using the beacons that Magneto brought, but it's only a matter of time before we see what Dr. Doom might do with the power from the box. And it's only a matter of time before we get to see what Hope might be able to do using the power that the box gives her. Maybe we will be able to find Valeria, and maybe we can defeat her and fix what she has done. And that's actually most of Season 3 finished, except for the event. The event just happened and began with the pipeline fueling the Leviathan ship. But out of nowhere, this weird image pops up on the countdown, disrupting any sort of fuel. This logo, when looking at it, actually replicates Dr. Doom's logo, but with a weird cloak over top, leading us to assume that this is the Wanderer, and revealing that the Wanderer is Dr. Doom, just as we suspected. Dr. Doom then rewires the fuel to stop fueling the boat, and instead explodes all of it, going from the boat all the way back to the rig, and when the rig explodes, it has a huge mushroom-styled explosion. But when the explosion fades away, we can see the Pandora's box's return. And now it's just up to us to figure out what's coming next in the next season. With the arrival of Dr. Doom with Valeria and the skies turning black, the island is in grave danger. There are so many different things we need to talk about today for the storyline, so let's get started with Dr. Doom's arrival. The first thing we need to do to understand how and why Dr. Doom is here, we have to go all the way back to Chapter 5, Season 1, where Valeria found Pandora's box and brought it up from its hiding spot. No one knew why she did this, but skip to Season 3 and the Wanderer shows up to scout out, and he finds where Pandora's box is. He destroys its hiding spot, and it reveals that it was hiding underneath the Nitro rig. This is where we see who the Wanderer is, and it was actually Dr. Doom. By the way, for some reason in the comics, Dr. Doom ended up dating a girl named Valeria. Do you think there's a chance that this was all planned, or was it a coincidence? Maybe Valeria brought the Pandora's box up specifically so Dr. Doom could come and get it later. But this isn't the only thing about Dr. Doom at all. Doom is being pulled towards the box similar to how Hope was last season. Doom realizes how dangerous it is, and there's more to that in a moment, but right now we need to talk about how Dr. Doom dreams to turn this island into an island of perfect order. Take a listen to his voice lines.
I am building my new kingdom. This place reeks of failure, of fault, of imperfection. But it will not be this way for long. I will set this place to order. I will make it perfect. I feel nothing but vacant. Hunger. It must be the box. It is exhilarating. But it is also wild, chaotic. Using the box again, without my armor appropriately upgraded, would be unwise. My work nears completion when all is reborn in my perfect image. I will never fail again.
Doom realizes that without a better pair of armor, it wouldn't be smart to open the box again, so now it's up to us to get to him before he gets his new armor. These aren't the only voice lines. We will continue the rest in a moment because they belong to Hope. But there's more on Doom for now. Dr. Doom steals the power of the Pandora's box, the power that belonged to Hope, according to the Oracle. He steals the power and drains the box completely. Now the box lies there with nothing. it is completely empty. And then we see him take over the island, with prisons and palaces all over the place. A funny secret about the prison is that in the trailer, we can see Chaos Agent who was put in jail. This is just a funny detail that hardly even matters, but something that does matter is Jones's recovery. By the way, that isn't all of Doom's storyline. We still have a few more things to explain, like the fact that he is looking for something, but we will talk about that after. By the way, subscribe if you're enjoying. Back to Jones's recovery. All of Chapter 5 so far, Jones has had some serious trouble. It started with him with a new rough look, and of course the society kidnapped Peely, Jones's best friend, and this made Jones more annoyed. He eventually got Peely back, but now in Season 4 he seemed to make a recovery. He shaved his beard, showing that he seems to be doing better, and looks a little happier now. Not that we didn't like the beard before because it kinda looked cool, but still, this is good. But the reason he is doing better is because he realized that Hope is in a situation quite like he was. All the struggle and weight of saving the whole world is on her shoulders, and all Jones wants to do now is help her. Also, we can't ignore the fact that he is Captain America. The interesting thing is that in a loading screen it explains this. Steve Rogers literally left his shield for Jones in the underground, as we see in this loading screen. So basically Dr. Doom is here and Jones decided he wants to help Hope defeat him so that way our island is safe. Speaking of Hope though, that leads us to our next topic. Hope has a new look. Personally, I like the old one a little bit better, but this one seems more angry with Dr. Doom for stealing Pandora's box. By the way, this isn't the only thing we're talking about today. We still have many secret storylines to explain from this season, like Doom is searching for something very mysterious, and the reason behind why the skies are turning black. Subscribe if you're enjoying, but let's get back to the video. Hope has some interesting dialogues with new characters. It seems that she is almost in her hyped up phase. She says, "Are you ready for the Underground's final ride?" And her name is now Heroic Hope. And it seems like this season will be mostly about getting a good team together so we can defeat Doom at the end of the season. But that's not the only thing. For now, we have some voice lines to listen to, but the Oracle has some interesting things to say. Take a listen.
Doom's off somewhere building himself some new armor. He's using Doombot technology to control his army remotely.
He has to be sending those armor materials to himself. If those shipments have a paper trail, we can use that information to find Doom. And if I find Doom, that's one less thing for Hope to worry about. I've been there. Leading reality's fearless defenders really weighs on a person. She's got a whole army of people on her side.
Have you seen something new? Maybe a way of defeating Doom? I have seen something new. A feline ally. A cunning plan. A victory hidden in defeat. You don't know more? Please, I have to get this right. We've had this conversation so many times.
The Oracle says a feline ally, a cunning plan, a victory hidden in defeat. These are very cryptic, but we know the answer to at least two of them. A feline ally, she is referring to the Tier 100 skin, Shuri. She is here to help us defeat Doom. Now, for a cunning plan, I have no idea what this could be, but for a victory hidden in defeat, I have an idea. Remember what Dr. Doom was saying about the box? He said it would be unwise to open it without having better armor. Well, Hope doesn't have any armor, so maybe Dr. Doom actually saved Hope's life by not letting her open it. Possibly this is the victory in the defeat. The defeat of Dr. Doom reaching the box before us, but the victory of that Hope won't turn evil or die. So now it's up to us, Jones, and Hope to defeat Dr. Doom, and we will finally see how this plays out. But don't forget, the skies are darkening, and Dr. Doom is still searching for something. It's finally time to reveal the secret of the dark skies, and after that we will talk about Dr. Doom again. In Season 2, the Oracle predicted something that made everyone wonder what it meant. She said the skies will darken, and everyone has been looking for what this could be, but we have finally seen what it might be. In-game right now, you can look up and see this smoke coming from somewhere. When we follow the smoke, it takes us to this POI, some sort of huge silo, and it's obviously blowing this weird smoke. But in the trailers, if you look at it, it shows some sort of weird face. In my opinion, it looks like it could be a huge version of Cerberus, but some people have realized that it could be the Marvel character Dormammu. But I don't know enough about it yet, so we're just going to have to wait for a further update for that. But there's still one more thing that we need to look at: Doom's exploration. Doom is on the island and all of his henchmen are looking for artifacts of something. That's what they say, at least. We don't know exactly what artifacts he's looking for, but we do know that he is searching for something. And leaks say that he will make his new set of armor out of the Pandora's box itself. So maybe he is searching for Pandora's box pieces so that way he can make an armor out of it. Now here's some final extra stuff. Stuff you can't really fit into a segment, but is more important to know. Nisha joined Hope's team in the underground. She wants to help us defeat Dr. Doom. Galactus is somehow here, and you can see him in the distance, but I think he's already been defeated by Dr. Doom. That's not the only one defeated by Dr. Doom though, because Fantastic Four is here, or at least it was. On the island we can see a destroyed Fantastic Four logo, and this seems to be indicating that they were here, and Dr. Doom already defeated them. But there's something else. In Dr. Doom's room, we can see his throne, and his throne is made out of the Thing from Fantastic Four. Oh brother, the return of the 0 Point. The 0 Point has been speculated for the whole chapter. Is it here? Did they abandon it? Did it get destroyed in the Big Bang? Well, it turns out that it is still here. And as always, it seems to be hidden underneath the lake in the middle of the island. We have a few things that suggest this. One being this board that was found in Doom's location, which circles this part of the lake. And two, the leaks also mention the 0 Point. This lake has been drying up over the chapter, but why? Some comments that I've seen think that it's Galactus drinking the water because it's going to be Galactus versus Doom for the event.
Oh, brother!
It most likely has something to do with the 0 Point. But Pandora's box has been the focus, so does the 0 Point really matter? Well, yes, but we'll get back to that later. For now, we're just going to cover the truth behind Doom's second arrival, because some huge news just came out. At first, it was obvious that Doom was here for Pandora's box, but the truth is, he was here for much more than that. Many have began theorizing that he is here to summon Mephisto so he can get his mother back. By the way, we are covering all of this information so that way we can piece everything together at the end of this video for the greatest live event theory. So just stay tuned until then. So basically, Doom came to the island, collected Pandora's box's power, and then left to prepare. But when he comes back, he plans to summon Mephisto to get his mother back. And then he will shift his focus to the 0 Point. In his absence, this left room for Hope's plan. Hope's plan is ambitious. She wants to get revenge on Doom for stealing her power. The Oracle reveals that Hope was supposed to receive the power of the box, but Doom stole it. So Hope is angry. Not only that, but Hope also wants to save the island from Doom. Last time we had a Marvel season, Iron Man clutched up by doing all the smart hard work. He just used the rifts to send Galactus away. And this is the plan again. We have collected rift beacons and placed them around the island. They are all around the countdown in the middle, pointing right towards Doom's tower. These are revealed to be using the 0 Point's power. And when the time comes for Doom to come back, we will use these to rift him away. But sadly, this won't exactly work in the end. I'll explain that later though. Also, if you're wondering why this will work, apparently the challenges revealed that now with Pandora's box's power, Doom has the ability to be a giant. So pretty much these beacons can just aim anywhere in that direction and it'll pretty much hit him. We've been using this whole time that Doom was gone to basically prepare. We eliminated Mysterio, who by the way had a mind control over the whole island, making everybody think that Doom was the good guy. As well as... wait, what's her name? I don't remember her name, I won't even lie. But we got rid of her. But there's one more detail about Hope that is extremely important. There is a new style for her skin, and it is called, get this, Pandora's Chosen. This is very similar to Doom's Chosen, and also, she's all yellow just like Doom was when he used Pandora's box's power. This all ties back into the Oracle's prophecy. The Oracle revealed in the beginning of this season a few hints to what will happen. She said the skies will darken, which happened. She said there will be a hidden victory and defeat, which hasn't really happened yet. And she also said some other stuff that's a little less important, but the important one is the victory, hidden, and defeat. This is almost enough information to piece together what might happen during the live event. Before we talk about that though, subscribe, because if we hit 30k subs before Season OG, I'll give away 3 Season OG Battle Passes. I just discovered Fortnite's greatest secrets. There is something huge hidden underneath the island. Not only that, but we also have hints for the return of the 7 and many more things. Let's start this video with Mephisto's plan. Mephisto was summoned by Doom because Doom wanted his mother back, and the only way to do that is from Mephisto himself. But as we all know, Doom was defeated. We rifted him back to reality 616, but in all of this, Doom managed to summon Mephisto. But what is Mephisto going to do here now that Doom is gone? Well, besides turning the water to blood, he's not really doing anything. He seems to be more of just a cool skin, which is pretty disappointing. But something that isn't disappointing is the return of the 7. The 7 went missing in Chapter 3 Season 4 when the Chrome took them. Ever since then, we haven't seen them at all, and that was over 3 years ago. But there is hope for a return soon. The Chapter 3 Season 4 island was randomly added back to the files in this new update, and this was the exact season that the 7 went missing. But to add on to this, the Cuddle Team Leader head was added to the Chapter 5 island. This little area has been extremely important over the seasons. This was first introduced into Chapter 3, and in Chapter 4 it came back as well. But in Chapter 4, this is exactly where Amy told us that the 7 were being corrupted. Do you guys think that this means that the 7 could return? Don't forget that at the end of the video, I am going to reveal Fortnite Chapter 5's biggest secrets. Even bigger than the next one. The Titans return. Okay, this one's all theory, but players have begun wondering what could happen for the rest of the season. It is only halfway finished and Doom already has been defeated. There has to be something bigger coming, and some players believe that it is the return of the Titan. The giant Titan that was hiding under our island in Season 1, the one that was keeping Pandora's box. People have begun speculating that the Titan will crawl out from underneath the island and lead us into Chapter 6 somehow. I don't know if this will happen or not, but I have seen some people talk about it. I mean, the Titan's down there somewhere, so he's gotta return, right? Somebody else that's returning for sure is Valeria. This is more of the deeper lore of this chapter. Valeria was a Day 1 story character, but after introducing the Pandora's box, she just left. But there was definitely more to her story. We know that she is sisters with Hope, but that isn't the only thing we know about her. And I have a huge theory. It revolves around why she summoned Pandora's box in the first place. This wasn't done for her, clearly. She summoned it for someone else. If she wanted the box for herself, she would have stuck around long enough to claim it. But she didn't. Why? I think this was because she wanted someone else to find the box. But who? There are 2 options. She either wanted Doom to find the box, or Hope. Let's start with Doom. Valeria's book was in Doom's castle, leading us to believe that Doom had an interaction with Valeria, and maybe Valeria was working for Doom so he could get the box. Or Valeria wanted Hope to eventually find this box so she would find the true meaning. I mean, Hope went from stopping the society to saving the world. Maybe Valeria had a good idea in mind, but most likely not. She was most likely just wanting to cause chaos. But now for the main part of the video, Chapter 5's secret. This is a huge theory, but every single piece of evidence is 100% true, and I'm just piecing things together that make sense. Before we talk about this, if this video offered some value or entertained you, please consider subscribing and using code PBJ. In every Fortnite chapter, we have been able to see what the island looks like from an outside perspective. But on Chapter 5, we still haven't. Are we on a planet? Are we in a bubble? No one knows. But this was secretly revealed throughout the chapter and no one else has seen it. When we started this whole chapter, the Big Bang happened. But if you go right before then, it was the black hole sequence, just like it was before Chapter 2. Comparing Chapter 5 to Chapter 2 is very important for my theory here. I'll explain why in a second. But that's one similarity to Chapter 2. What else? Well, when we got to this island, there were a lot of Chapter 2 props, even similar landmarks like this crashed plane. Even every season matched somewhat as well. Season 1 was a war between the factions. Season 2, Midas returned. Season 3, there was a flood of water and then a flood of sand. I don't know if that one counts. But in Season 4 was all Marvel. This could just be a coincidence, but things are about to get insane. It's gonna get confusing, so stay with me till the end and it'll all make sense. The name of Chapter 5's island is Helios. In Greek, that means sun. And guess what? The Chapter 2 island name, Apollo, and Chapter 3 island name, Artemis, are closely related to Chapter 5, Helios. But they are also related to one more name. That name is Selene. Selene stands for a moon in Greek. In particular, Helios is related to Apollo, and Artemis is related to Selene. Just be patient, we're getting there. What if the Chapter 6 island's codename is Selene? Let me explain. What happened at the end of Chapter 2? It flipped to Chapter 3. Since Chapter 5 Island is related to Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 Island is closely related to Selene, what if this is a huge secret hint that the Chapter 5 Island Helios, like Chapter 2, will flip and reveal the Chapter 6 Island Selene, similar to how it revealed Chapter 3 Island. Okay, let's pause for 3 seconds just to take a breather. I am claiming that the Chapter 5 island was created similarly to Chapter 2 and that the Chapter 5 has a flip side with Chapter 6 on the other side. But do you want more proof? This one is actually in-game. In Chapter 5 Season 2, there was a character named Nura. This character was a storyteller, and she tells about my exact theory. When you ask about the moon and sun, sounds familiar, right? She says the moon and sun are playmates, taking chase after one another. It is said that if one ever slows, so does the other. Neither wants their game to end ever. This might not make sense at first, but let's take another look. In my theory, I am suggesting that Chapter 5 Helios has a flip side that leads to Chapter 6 Selene. This story aligns with my theory. With Helios meaning sun and Selene meaning moon, if there was a flip side, the moon and sun would technically be taking chase after one another, because they are facing opposite directions. They are literally connected. If one ever slows, so does the other. Back to back, the islands spin, and the moon and the sun never face each other because they are connected facing opposite directions. There's one more thing that connects this. A character closely related to Nura is Anwar. This character also talks about the moon and sun. His says the moon and sun are siblings. And when you look in Greek mythology, Helios is siblings with Selene. This confirms that we're talking about Greek characters, but is it really confirming that Selene will be the Chapter 6 island and that the Chapter 5 is just half of the flip side? Well, I don't know, but that's part of the theory. But we still have one more question. How will we get to Season OG? We thought about how we will get to Chapter 6, but how does Season OG fit into all of this? We are supposed to go back to Chapter 2 for Season OG soon. What will we do to get there? We don't really know yet. Chapter 5's secret live event is almost here. This live event is codenamed Kiln, K-I-L-N, which honestly could mean anything. To me, it sounds like the words kill him, but players have realized that it also means furnace. That is important, but it's nothing compared to some of the other leaks in this video. A few weeks ago, we had the Dr. Doom live event. But now, Fortnite is surprising us with another one. This is going to be a fully original live event, unlike the past few seasons which have been mini events. This event will have some insane storyline, map changes, and a lot more. But players have realized that Fortnite accidentally leaked the event early, and the community is not very happy about what they saw. In Fortnite's recent blog post, it says this: when Fortnitemares 2024 nears its end, Rave Mellow will enter the shop to remind you Fortnitemares is only just the beginning of the end of year party. Players think that this means the event will be a Marshmello concert, similar to how Eminem had one last time, and everyone is so mad. Personally, I don't think this will happen, but Fortnite finally is giving us teasers for Season OG 2, and let's just say this isn't too far off. But we'll get to that later in the video. For now, what will happen during the live event. We all know that Season OG 2 is coming out right after the Chapter 5 ends, but the Chapter 5 finale will decide how we get there. I think I have some good ideas though. There are two ways we could possibly get to Chapter 2 OG from this. Our first option involves Midas. Remember when Midas came to the island? Well, one day he just took his boat and left. There's a good chance that he took his boat to Chapter 2, and maybe he will lead us to Chapter 2 OG. In Chapter 2 OG, we have leaks that there will be a live event including the device event from Chapter 2 Season 2. So this is very likely that Midas will be there. But what is our second option? Well, Fortnite might have a surprise for us, because this event was leaked to have 6 stages. We don't know what the first 5 stages are, but we do know what the 6th stage is. And you won't believe it, it is the black hole. How would we possibly get to the black hole though? The only time we've ever gone to the black hole was when the 0 point was under so much pressure that it exploded. But we haven't seen the 0 point in years, so does this mean that it will finally return, or is this some sort of name placeholder for a to be continued sign? But we still do have a few more theories of what could happen during this event. And make sure to stay until the end of the video, because Fortnite dropped some official next season teasers, and you don't want to miss them. There's another thing that might happen during this live event. Let's take a look back all the way to Chapter 5 Season 1, when this giant hand came out of the ground that was holding Pandora's box. Well, the rest of this Titan has to be somewhere, right? So what if it's still underground? And what if during this live event the Titan returns? And what if it takes us to Chapter 2 OG? In the last live event, Doom lost to us and was rifted to a different reality. But everybody's wondering the same question. Will he return? Some players think he will return, but others think not. When you go up to the Mephisto NPC, he mentions that Doom is gone for good, but maybe he's not telling the truth. Speaking of Mephisto, there's a chance that he has something to do with this event. Not a big chance, but a small chance, so we'll just have to make sure we watch out for it. Okay, but this next one's crazy, because Chapter 3 was just added back to the files, and now everyone is theorizing that the island will feature in this event. But there's an even bigger hint for that. On the island, there's a new landmark, the Cuddle Team Leaderhead. This was first added to the game in Chapter 3, and now it is back. Something else interesting is that in Chapter 4, this is where we found out that the 7 had gone missing and were being corrupted. But with Chapter 6 right around the corner, there has also been some leaks for that too. On the roadmap, players have found that the image used for Chapter 6 actually looks like it has some floating islands on it. I've always wanted a floating island themed map, maybe we'll actually finally get it. There's one more leak for Chapter 6. Before I tell you, subscribe if you're enjoying and if this video has brought you any value, and go ahead and use code PBJ in the item shop as well. Back to the video. A survey with a ton of skins just came out, and they all have the same logo on them, leading us to believe that there will be some sort of superhero theme in next chapter. Fortnite just teased Season OG 2, and that's not even what it's called. It's actually called Season Remix Chapter 2. Before we get into these pins, which reveal a lot, let's talk about whatever this is. If I'm not mistaken, this is a cassette player. And guess what Fortnite also gave them? Yeah, you guessed it, a cassette. Well, what does it play when you put it inside? This was remixed by Marshmello, and it's the Spy's music theme, telling us exactly what this remixed season will be focused on. But let's take a look at these pins. We have a normal pin for Sludge, a Boogie Bomb, a Shark, a Boombox, Misty Meadows, but the others are definitely more interesting. We have Midas's hand, indicating that he could be coming back in this. We have a Butterfly, which is very odd. Not sure what that will do here. And then we have our first look at the Battle Pass skins. We have a Meowscles mixed with Midas, which is very interesting. And then we have one more, which is a TNTina reskin. It seems like this is very heavily focused on Chapter 2 Season 2. I hope that it hits some of the other seasons as well, but there's one more season that looks like it's being teased. If you look at the background, this looks exactly like the Sideways. which was in Chapter 2, Season 8. That was the same season where the last reality came, tried to destroy our island, and then we flipped the island. Something that everybody was wondering and honestly worried about was, will Hope come with us to the Chapter 2 and Chapter 6 islands? Because she seems pretty attached to the Pandora's box and the Chapter 5 island and everything like that. So was there an opportunity for her to stay back? Well, on these teasers, we could actually see the Hope's cat logo. And I believe that this is indicating that she will be there with us. So at least we get to keep our main character, Hope and Jones, together during this story. The content for Fortnite is kicking into overdrive. We have the Chapter 5 finale, Season OG live event, Chapter 6 Season 1, Winterfest, and I'm sure there's going to be many more things in between there. And the live event just happened, so if you want to see the storyline explained for the live event, go watch the video on the screen. Use code PBJ. Thank you so much, by the way.